Okay, great. So first, before we start, I'd like to present to all of you a bit of Soccer Hub. Soccer Hub is an education platform where we produce high-level content for soccer coaches. This is our main goal. Of course, all of you are invited to check us out in www.hub/soccer.com. I will put the link for you to check out. We are here today because we promote weekly what we call an event called Soccer Hub Talks. And in these Soccer Hub Talks, normally we discuss subjects, different subjects, but in cycles, okay? So right now, we have been discussing things related with match analysis and the football analysis. That's why we have here two great specialists in these matters, João Nuno Fonseca, and João Nuno Fonseca is working currently to the City Football Group, and he delivers services to different clubs such as Manchester City, Melbourne City, New York City, and in Spain also Girona. We have also Mario Savo. It's currently the president of the Italian Association of Match Analysts or Football Analysts. It's a big pleasure having you both. We're going to start and discuss a bit the objective of this seminar today, and the major subject is match analysis in modern football. Of course, we will discuss first some general subjects about this matter, and then we go try to get a little bit more technical in for me to understand the way that you look at these different subjects. So, thank you to all. Thank you, João. Thank you, Mario. Okay, so Mario, the first question is for you. I'd like you to first to speak a little bit more about this association, how it was created, and what are the main goals of your association. But at the same time, I'd like to ask you one question. We were discussing this a bit before we went live, but my question is, do you think that is the football analyst already a profession, or do you think that it will be in the future only a complement to the football coach? Mario?
Okay. Thank you for the invitation first. And the association was born in 2016 when I won the hackathon, the Hack'em CFC, organized by Opta Sports and Cairo Nigo and Manchester City. And when I came back in Italy, the situation was not so good about match analysis. And that's because there is a clear political way, a clear political path by my federation, which don't let not only me, but don't let all of the coaches and all of the technical and all of the scientists that studied for many years statistical mathematics and many scientific math that can be useful for match analysis and for football, can apply for football, to become match analyst. So the principal objective of this association is to help developing of this scientific area of football in Italy, because the situation in Italy is that they can. I heard someone speaking of football.
I'm sorry. You can continue.
Oh, okay, perfect. Okay, I said, it's the idea of Italian Federation is that if you want to become a match analyst, you have to be first a UEFA B coach. But in Italy, it's not simple to become a football coach. Okay, you have to if you were a football player is really simple because you have a scoring to get part in the courses to become a football coach in the Italian Federation. If you are not a football player, it's not so simple. So we have to divide these two roles. in my opinion. And as the situation is, for example, in England, as for the situation is in other parts of Europe. And the other problem is that in other parts of the world, as England, as Spain, if you want to become a football coach, it's not important for you to be a former football player. So, or you make to become the way to become a football coach more simple, or you have to divide these two professional roles because they are different. Okay, the match analysis role is probably the first role in which the technology and science is really the core of the sport. Okay, because essentially you are a manager of information. Okay. Mm-hmm. The main objective of a match analyst is to give information to my coach. So I'll try to give an answer to your second question. In the future, I think that there will be a separation, a division between the coach and the match analyst. In Italy, we have in the middle. Okay, at the moment, in many cases, we have the assistant coach or another existent role in the staff that, when finished to work in the field, come home or come in a video analysis room and start to do the analysis. But in many cases, he just look the match. In a video, and you just cut the video, not more. And this is not the match analysis role. The match analysis role is a more complex role and is a more scientific role.
Yeah, sure. So thank you very much, Mario. João, you know that I'm not really a big specialist in this area, and sometimes I'm looking for those experts of match analysis and everything else, and I search on LinkedIn. And sometimes I find different titles for the same job. You know, it's very usual for me to see match analyst, to see performance analyst, to see a football scientist, and I get a bit confused. I get a bit confused. Do you think that is important, and the role of the Association of Mario is a bit like that? Do you think it's important to establish clearly what is the role of each of these professionals? Or do you think that should be the club to define, okay, in my club, we work like this. We have this guy doing this, we have this guy doing that? Because sometimes I think it's a bit confusing, you know. There are so many different titles for the same job. What do you think about this, João?
Well, first of all, good evening for you, Ricardo and Mario, and for the people that are watching the Facebook Live. And I want to give you a compliment for all of you.
Thank you.
Regarding your question, Ricardo, I think it's important. Sometimes in football and let's say that in the sports, there is a trend that we need to use naming for everything, and we need to sometimes to keep a little bit more calm on this, because like I said all the times, the football is so simple, and sometimes the people try to complicate the things. So of course it's important to have names for the roles, but in the same time it's important also for the people to don't get fixed on that idea that there is only one name to say, okay, I'm an analyst. No, we can have engineers to do a match analysis. We can have coaches that had the profession before of engineers, like Fernando Santos as our national team football coach. So it's very important for the people to understand that the principles, the ideas, the knowledge, this is the most important thing. And regarding this, okay, we can say that there is performance analysts more regarding for the performance of the team, more looking for the things on the team perspective. You have opposition analysts. You have different kind of naming, coaching methodology analysts. So it's kind of different namings that the companies or the clubs needs to put for the positions.
Yeah, but it depends on the country. You know that in Brazil, for instance, the guy that does the match analyst is called the performance analyst. You know,
yeah.
And sometimes it's a bit confusing because some guys are trying to ask for a job in Europe doing performance analyst, and he is not the performance analyst; he's a match analyst. So I think it's a bit. I think everyone would benefit if we could structure this kind of information better. So
just for helping you to understand, I think that the difference is just this. As João Nuno said, for example, in UK, for example, in Portugal, you accept all. You don't give a precise definition. Okay, you don't say, okay, the football match analyst need to be a coach. Okay, is the exact opposite in Italy. Okay, in Italy, the federation said if you want to be a football analyst, you need to be a coach. Okay, if you are not a coach, so if you were not a football player, a former football player, you can't be an analyst. So I think it's wrong. It's wrong for the definition and from the historical view of this science. So I agree with João Nuno.
Okay, Mario. First, let me just give some feedback of the people that are looking at us right now. We have people from Brazil, we have people from Argentina, from the United Arab Emirates, also Argentina, okay, Italy, we have someone here from Udinese, Greece also, Portugal, more Italy, Bulgaria, Australia, Romania, well, people from everywhere with different experiences, I'm sure. But first, I would like to challenge all of you that are looking through Facebook Live. Don't be shy. You can ask whatever you want, okay? I will then redirect the question to Mario or João Nuno. But right now, I have a question for you, Mario.
Yeah.
It's one more time regarding the specific work of the analyst. As I said before, I have some experience in different countries, and they work in different ways. For instance, as I said, in Brazil, the analyst works close to the coach, and if the coach leaves, the analyst goes with him. Okay, but in Europe, I see like here in Benfica, Porto, even in Manchester City, they have a specific department that whatever the coach that is working right away in the club, they don't change. What do you think that is more recommendable? Do you think that the analyst should be always on the team so they can give that experience to the new coach? Or do you think that it for the communication to be effective, or do you think that the coach should be always with the same analyst?
Well, I think that the situation in Italy is that just a few clubs have a football match analysis department. Okay, just 2-3 clubs. I don't know, Inter, Juventus, Roma, and not many other. The most common situation is that the football coach is part of the staff, as part of the staff, a match analyst. Okay, when the football coach leave, also the match analyst leave. I think that the recommendable situation is the first one, that so that a club must have a football analysis department, and that's just for an important thing, that as I said before, the analyst and the analysis department is a department that have the information of the club, that have the database of the club, information about the performance from the qualitative point of view, so tactical, okay, and from the quantitative point of view, okay. So it is at all a permanent department, but this is not the situation in Italy, and in many cases in the big club. when an analysis man of the coach, so the match analyst of the technical staff, meets a technical department, a department of analysis of the club, in many cases they crash. They crash because there is a war. There is a sort of war about the leadership is mine. I have to take a decision, and you have just to operate, or the reverse. And this is not so good. I think that the focus of this discussion is the club. Is everything the club. So the club must have his area of department, okay, and the coach and a coach could also have a match analyst, but is an employee of the club, okay. Mm-hmm. You have to respect the cultural way of the club, also from the point of view of the analysis.
What do you think about this topic, João? Do you want to add something?
Regarding the topic, I think it's also important that we need to understand that sometimes the culture imposes to you certain things, and nowadays in Portugal, and I think in the last at least 10-15 years, you have the necessity to put the assistant coach also as an analyst, because the club doesn't have the resources to pay to one person to do the analysis. And we need to also respect, again, the culture, because sometimes when you go to England, when you go to Germany, you have clearly that the analyst is a position that exists as single. So even if it is on a club or is with the other, with the coaches. So I think, in my opinion, and the most common, let's say, way to work is that the technical staff of the coach have already an analyst. So if you have an analyst, because he knows the pathways of the coach, he knows the ideas of the coach, the philosophy, and also he's the person to integrate. If he joins the club, the coach joins a new club, he will help to make this transition to to go to a new culture and absorb what already has been done in the club, and then working in his idea, in his way. So it's important also to have this in mind, because in different cultures it works in a different way. So we need to adapt, and adapt is the word in this kind of situations. So yes, I believe it's good to have analysts already in the clubs, because it helps to understand the philosophy of the club, to the philosophy also of the youths if we are in the professional side. So it's good, of course, but don't forget, nowadays the most common is to have coaches that have already a technical staff and the person responsible for these kind of situations.
Okay, great, thank you. Well, we have some questions here from our audience. I think I'm going to ask this question specifically to Mario. Here we have a Spiller. I don't know where Spiller is. Where he's based, but he's asking, what do you think it is the proper education to be a football analyst? What kind of basis should he have? What kind of experience should he have to be a proficient football analyst? Mario, what do you think?
Well, it's a really complex to give an answer to this kind of question, because as I said before, the match analyst needs to have some different skills. Okay, from the tactical point of view, he had to be a really good with tactical aspect. Okay, so this is an aspect proper of a football coach. But on the other point of view, it has to be a strong analytical skills, okay, a strong mathematical skills and advanced statistical skills, okay, because you need to be able to do, for example, a database management, okay, with performance analysis and performance data, okay. So you need to integrate these two kind of skills, which is the most simple path to become an analyst. I don't know, you can you can came from the technical school, from coach school, or so from the field, from the pitch, which is really important, because everything starts from the pitch, and after a scientific tool, I said, come back to the pitch, okay? But on the other way, you also came from you may came also from university, so from the engineering, from economics, from statistics, from all the scientific math, and firstly from, of course, sports science university, which are not really common in Italy, because in Italy we have a university called a faculty called Scienze Motorie, which is much more adapted for athletical staff, for athletical coach, okay? Not really data oriented, which is the difference, for example, with the data science faculty in UK, in England, okay, which is really sports science oriented, okay? And for example, a sports science is a specific role to become an analyst.
Okay, great. So we have here some questions. I was expecting to bring this subject a little bit later, but we have several questions about technology. Okay, and this question is going to be for João Nuno. We have here Yusuf Maximus and Adam Catchpole, both asking. They are starting being analysts, and they are struggling because they don't find any software or any platform that is easy to use and cheap at the same time. He's talking about sports code, and it's very expensive. So João, can you give some ideas to these guys how they can start working right now with a low budget?
Linked with the previous question, Ricardo, I want to, sometimes the people ask what we need to be an analyst. I think the first thing is always the passion, and this works for everything. And also in this situation for the analysis. But the most important thing, even if you are an engineer or even if you are a mathematician, whatever, the thing, I strongly believe that as soon as you start to understand the moments of the game, how the moments are related between each other, and in the end, who will receive the information is the players, and how the players relate the information received and interact with each other, between them inside the pitch. So this is the most important thing, is how you perceive the information, how you pass the information always to the players, and of course to the coach, because the coach will start to prepare the training sessions, to prepare the philosophy that he wants to implement. But going now to the topic of the technology, of course the technology will help the process of the match analysis. Sports code, you have Longo Match also. I never work with Longo Match, but I hear from people that are in the industry of football talking about this platform. You have several companies around. Sports code, Longo Match, Coach Paint is now entering in this world also. So it's important at least that these kind of softwares simplify the work that we do, even if you only want to record the training sessions, even if you want to record the games, but how you deal with this kind of information. That's why the softwares are coming in. You don't need to buy sports code to be an analyst. And this is very important to retain in the mind, because sometimes the people think that the softwares will make us better professionals in the industry. No, we need to understand that the most important thing is how we perceive the information regarding the game moments, regarding the principles, the trainings, how we link the game with the training. This is the most important thing. In the second comes the software that help us to pass the information as we want. So this is important to be clear since the beginning. Otherwise, the people think that I will go to the supermarket, buy sports code, and that's it. I'm an analyst. No. We need to understand that the knowledge needs to come through all the years of experience that the people are doing.
Okay, thank you, Nuno. Thank you, Mario. I have here also several questions about having some more information about how to work as a football analyst or a soccer analyst. I would like, of course, to recommend João Nuno online course we have in our platform. It's the name of the course is How to Build a Match Analysis Process. Of course, I recommend to all of you. And the good news is that in the next 6 hours, we will offer a 75% discount on the course. So for those who need to know or want to know a little bit more about how can you work in this specific area, I recommend this course. Okay, so we have these guys on the Facebook Live. They are making my work very easy because we have here several questions. I have one here from Elias Galanopoulos. I imagine that it's from Greece. And he's okay. It's a question that I would like for you to comment. But he said, if you don't have economical or mathematical skills, but if you are a good observer, you cannot become an analyst. Okay, is this enough? Maybe you are good in tactical through maybe, and you have better skills in tactics from to science. Okay, it's asking. Okay. What is, of course, essential for me to be a good analyst? Of course, we have to understand the game. We have to become a good mathematician to analyze all the data. But what do you think, João, if you want to say to me, for me is indispensable to be, to be a match analyst, I need to have this. What is it, João?
Ricardo, I'm sorry, but I don't see the mathematics, even the economical side on this position. I'm sorry to the people that believe in the numbers and in all of this of statistical side. Of course, it helps. It helps to confirm certain areas of the analysis, but in my opinion, of course, I strongly believe that the people needs to start looking for the coaching badges in this way. So at least you start to understand how the game is perceived, how the game is trained, and then as soon as you start to do this, it will be more easy to understand game moments, the interaction of the game moments, how you relate this with the training sessions. This is in the end the most important thing, because you want to reach the goal in the most efficient way. So the efficient way is not to count how many passes we do in our building up. The importance is how this building up is made, how the pressure comes, how these relate with the training sessions that we want. I'm sorry, Mario, but in my opinion, the mathematics in this way doesn't enter in my mind. I'm sorry, but I see the things much more easy, and of course there is people that is expert on the statisticals and do this and extract important information, but I believe this information will confirm what you observe and what you will watch through the matches and trainings, and will confirm if I pick up 15 matches and it will say that this team is more strong in the middle third because they recover more on the left side, okay, it will confirm maybe my information that I get from what I analyzed in 5 matches or 4 matches. I don't know, Mario, what do you think? But in my opinion, again, don't give a number to the things. At least put in mind that the analysis is important. The important thing is the interpretation that you have about the things. I don't know, Ricardo, if it is clear.
Mario, let me just, I'm going to ask you a question that is related with the statement of João Nuno. João Nuno, in this course, he talks about the different analysis system that we can use, the quantitative and the qualitative. I already know the opinion of João Nuno about this subject, but I have one question for you, Mario. Which of these two, the quantitative or the qualitative, is more important when you are analyzing the opponent team? Because I imagine that it's easier for us to go to Instat and Y-Scout and get the data. It's instantly, so you don't need much time to prepare the next game. Because I imagine that qualitative analysis takes longer than the quantitative analysis. So how do you think that these two should interact when you are analyzing the opponent team?
I think that there's two parts, qualitative and quantitative, much to be integrated, just for a reason. As I said before, you need to start from the pitch. You need to start from the tactical analysis. So you need to watch some moment, as João Nuno said before. You need to watch some constant movements on the pitch and tactical relationship on the pitch. The mathematical analysis, statistical analysis, and database analysis applied to the football is just yes, a confirmation, but it's also this kind of quantitative analysis lets you to make some provisional analysis. Okay, in England, and I think you know this just because you cooperate with Manchester City, for example. They are trying to create. They understood that football is a complex game, a non-linear, complex, dynamic system. Okay, for scientific, this is the scientific definition, because it's really difficult to make a provision. Okay, but with the normal statistical analysis, but it's possible with, I don't know, for example, machine learning data, machine learning big data, and I don't know, for example, for the network analysis. Okay, these are just data analysis which apply to the football. So after the tactical analysis, the integration with this kind of information lets you to do a provisional work about, for example, the next opponent team. Okay, and we could say, for example, okay, by this kind of path, we can reduce the error, which this kind of decision making in this specific situation, and we know that at present we are able to do training with the situational training in football. Okay, so to present to our football players the different situation that they will meet in the game. Okay, we are just trying to let our football players to think about, not to give them some rules of playing, but to let him thinking about what to do in the specific situation. Okay, the match analysis integrated between the tactical analysis and data analysis lets you to give a provision and to present with more confidence the different situation that our players could meet in the game of the Sunday, for example. Okay, this is I think the key is the integration between these two areas. Okay, obviously all start from the pitch, so all start from the high. Okay, we can also do notational analysis with a simple statistical analysis, just with a pen and a paper. Okay, the technology is just some that have to make more simple the work for us. But I think that the integration is the key.
Okay, João, do you want to add anything?
Regarding this topic, I think we already discussed the things. I just want one little thing that, in my opinion, will make the difference in football, and also makes the difference in football. That is the sensations that we get from the game. We can't predict exactly what will happen on the game when we are doing opposition analysis, because there is a lot of things that influence the game and the strategical side of the game. So this is important, the sensations of the game. That's why when I prepare to see a match, of course I try to understand how the team was until that moment, but the importance is sometimes to get with the mind clear when we start to see the match, because the sensations that I will get in this moment will be, again, in my opinion, much more important than what we had in the past. Because let's give an example. If we prepare a match and we want to build up from the back, and we prepare the
More
match saying that
than
the opposition
what we
team,
had in the past.
are pressing, can press us high, and we need to deal with this press. But we go to the match and the players start to build up, but without pressure. So this kind of differences needs to question all the times the players, and the players needs to all the times put the question in his mind, why? So that's why I put all the time the things that in the most simplistic way for the players to understand properly that they need to decide in that moment. We cannot predict the things so, let's say, statistically saying. I don't know, Mario, if you want to add something?
Yeah, I think that statistics, just because give you, that are the coach, for example, okay, many different scenarios, okay, which a probabilistic number, okay, associated, okay. So, for example, in the 80% of the way, this team starts to build up from the back, okay. So we can try to give pressure, okay, to them, okay, very high, for example, okay. With the 10%, this team try to move on the ball with long balls to the right area of the pitch, okay. So our players said that this is a possibility, and they have, for example, to give pressure, to give density in this kind of area to try to gain the first ball or second ball, for example. Okay, obviously the important is everywhere the pitch, is everywhere the zonal analysis, everywhere the tactical analysis. But the data can give you more scenarios with a probabilistic way of happening of these scenarios. Okay, just this is we are not able to give us certain information, sure information about the future. We are just able to give probability. We are just able to do, these are the different situation. Okay, this week we have to work on this situation to arrive to the opponent game, okay, the next opponent game. We just give information, just this. We don't need the answer. We give more questions and more way to, more way to reach the objective. Just this.
Okay, great. I have here a question from Pavel. I'm going to try to pronounce the last name is Jedrzejewski. Okay. And it's a question that I was programming to do, and I want to ask it to João Nuno. And the question is, how much analysis of the rivals game influences the training plan? Okay. It's okay. What is the relationship between the analysis of the opponent and how we use that information to plan our training session? João.
Ricardo, thank you to Pavel to the question. It's really a really important question I believe most of the coaches and analysts do for themselves, because in my opinion, we need to think first in our identity. That, for me, this is the first point, because with our identity, with our game ideas, we will, let's say, influence also the game plan and also the training plan. Okay, so if I know already how the opposition team might play against my team, I will try to prepare and create scenarios that, regarding my identity, how the players can feel more comfortable in this kind of situations. So if a team, let's say, put the pressure, we talked before on the building up from the back, put the pressure with two players, and we know already that the opposition team might play in this area of the pitch with only two players making the pressure high. we need to create these scenarios regarding our identity. If our identity is to build up with 3 in the back and the 2 fullbacks high and open on the pitch, we need to create scenarios around this. But the most important, again, is to put questions in the mind of the players. How we deal with this pressure. And the players need to answer, of course, on the pitch, but also need to think about it. Because they might play and they might pressure with 3 in the front. So again, it's important, in my opinion, 60% in our ideas, in what we are, and then look to what the opposition might do against us. I don't know if Pavel, if I don't answer your question, but at least give a feedback on your comments.
Mario, do you want to add something to this question? I think that Mario turned the microphone off. Okay, it's on again. Mario, you can speak now.
Okay, sorry. I agree totally. So I think that João Nuno had been really total in this kind of answering. I think that we need to let our players thinking about thinking to make decisions. To make decision in the specific situation, in the time space situation, okay, which is I think the football player of the future, okay, which is a thinking player, and which is really smart and really fast to take the right decision.
Okay, great. So we have here another question now to João again. It's from João Daniel Rico. And João he says something like, we always talk about match analyst as a staff member who is in charge of analyze the team, the opponent team. But I don't think that, or do you think that his work should continue even during the game? I don't know if you understand the question, João, but I think he's trying to ask if the analysts, if we could create some way to the analyst intervene during the game close to the technical team. Do you think that might be interesting?
Well, Ricardo, in the course that I did in Soccer Hub, I talk about that, and I think it's important also for the people to realize that the analysts, depending of course on the cultures, because you have more strict cultures that doesn't let's say, help the work of the analyst. But you have cultures where the understanding of the game relate the analyst also on the training sessions, not only filming, because sometimes the people think the analyst is only filming and do the things behind the scenes, but no. I strongly believe that the analyst should be also on the pitch near the coach to help him to take him to give the best decisions, and also helping the coach on these situations. Of course, during the match, you have the analyst in the higher position to see the pitch more wide and more clearly in the higher position, and also is linked with a phone to near the coach, to the assistant coach, so to give informations from higher position how the things are working. So but again, in my opinion, we need to think that the analyst is a part of the technical staff, is not a guy or a person that is only on the studio controlling the cameras, controlling the cameras that are on the pitch. No, it's a person that needs to be linked on the pitch, needs to be linked and near the players, for the players to understand them, to understand also the ideas of the analyst. So it's important all the time to relate the things and not to separate the things. That's my opinion, and I believe the future should be like that. It will help all the people and not only do specific positions, and the people think the analyst is the guy that do DVDs and this kind of stuff.
Mario, do you want to add something?
Yes, I think the same. It's just this kind of integration between the analyst and the tactical staff. I don't have I don't have a clear idea about the importance of for me it's important that the society have a football analysis department. Okay, then I think it's important also that in the technical staff there is a match analyst. The difficulty is to let these two same professionals to communicate. This is just the difference we see in Italy. But I think that for an historical role, because they have to register events and they have to collect events and collect data of the club, I think that it's really important football analysis department inside the club. But I think on the other point of view, as João Nuno, that the match analyst is not the technological people of the staff that, for example, use technology and charge the USB pen of the football players with their wedding video. Okay. It's a professional, okay, and so it's not a nerd, okay, it's not a geek, okay, it's a professional that need to very well understood the coaching process, okay, so he need to live with the technical staff, okay, in both the case, if he is a member of the technical staff or a member of the society, okay, he need to live with the technical staff, need to be integrated. And he needs to be on the pitch during the training to understand the model of game, to understand the principle of play. Okay. Then, when he finished this kind of training, the tactical training, he have to go to the video room. He need to go to the scientific room and do his research job. Just this.
Okay, great. João Nuno, we are almost finishing this conversation. It was very quick, but one more time about how do we deliver the information, the analysis information to the players? Do you think that this contextualization or contextualizing the player on the objectives of each exercise can affect his performance? Well,
of course, it can affect. I think we need also to put and sit near the player to understand what is the best for him to receive the information. It can be through WhatsApp, it can be through Facebook, through a group. It depends also, but I think the most important is to have at least a conversation, a normal conversation. It's not like I'm the coach and the player is below. No, we are in the same level, and in the same level we can do the things better. And I strongly believe that the conversation is much better. But of course, with the using of the technology to send videos, to send important messages, not even for the group. For a player, for whatever, it will depend all the time on the context that we are working and living. So that's it.
Okay, great. Mari, do you want to add something to this subject?
Well, I think that the key is to use the same language of the football player. Okay, with a football player, I can speak about statistical or mathematical or data science. Okay, with a football player, I need to speak easy, to speak about football, about pitch, about principle of play, about pressure, about pressing, about I don't know, developing game from the back, a long ball, and small and I don't know, all this kind of aspects which are pitch aspect, don't about mathematical and statistical, or not about index or something similar. Okay, so I think this is the key. The technological instrument is not important. You can also have some meetings with one-on-one with the football players, and you can just give them some information about their game or their opponent's game.
Okay, great, guys. I have one last question. It's about when should we start using the analysis? When is the player old enough to understand the information that you are delivering, and how important it is to start giving some information to the players so then in the future they can understand better the importance of game analysis? João, can you start answering this question, please?
I believe we need to start when the players start to question himself about the things. And when he starts to question himself, it will give us a much bigger opportunity to introduce also the analysis, but not only the analysis, at least the way how the player can improve. And you need to improve depending on different situation, but also the video will help the player to understand what he did on the pitch, what he can do better, things like have references, examples from top players to understand a different concept. So at least when the players start, even in the youth ages, when the player start to question himself, I think it's a good idea to start to implementing the analysis in a brief and in a very objective way, because we have nowadays kids around 8 years old to playing FIFA, and they start already to use the technology in a different way, like gaming. So and also the gaming on this kind of situation will help the player to improve. Because there is some articles on the internet, people that can search on the Guardian last month, I think, that happened. It appeared one article about this, how the FIFA game or the Pro Evolution Soccer, depending on the platforms, it will affect also the way of thinking of the player. So we need to start to understand when the player start to question himself. That's in my opinion, the first point.
Mario, what do you think about this subject? When should we start giving information to the players? How soon should we do it?
Well, I think it's for experience. I think it's not a precise age. What change is the way we do match analysis. For example, when I was in a youth sector of an Italian club of Serie B, I do match analysis and video analysis, specific video analysis, which a 15 years old and 14 years old formation, okay, of youth players, okay. They are very involved in video, and they are very it was really funny because they are really they pay attention to the video, because obviously at the days and in this kind of age class we use analysis just to correct some technical technical skills, excuse me, not tactical. Okay, tactical it's more later. Okay, it's later, and I think it's an argument really complex. So we can introduce tactical aspect later. We use match analysis, for example, during the training to let the player show which are the errors from the technical point of view. Okay, when a player is a kid, I think that the video it's really funny. Just not to underline problems, but to give them self-consciousness, give them confidence with the ball, and I don't know. It's a sort of representation of the kids, as a sort of hero. Okay, they are really mind affected with I don't know, trading card system, trading card albums. Okay, they love football players. So for a kid to see himself in a video, it's wow, it's wonderful. Okay, when obviously when the football players will grow up, we start to use match analysis for the tactical aspect. So to give player information about tactical aspect, opponent team tactical aspect, etc., etc. So what changes during the age is just the way we do match analysis. But I think match analysis is not bad also for kids and youth players.
Okay, guys, thank you very much. We have many questions here on Facebook. I would like to ask both of you and also all the participants in the chat to be part of our group Soccer Hub Talks. And over there you can put some questions, and if Mario or João is available, they can answer over there, okay? Because we don't have enough time. Our time is up. Just before we finished, I would like to ask João to make a small preview of his online course. João, what do the people can learn from your online course, João?
Well, Ricardo, one of the questions we talk about that in this live webinar. But at least in the course, it's a very simple way to start to understand the game analysis by the game moments, how the technology affects in these situations, the perceiving of the match analysis of the game moments, how this related to the training sessions. So in that way, I try to give a very objective message to the people that will assist the course online. That the football is simple, and if we have fun doing the things, that's the most important thing. So that's it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you very much, guys. Thank you, Mario, for your time. Thank you, João, for your time. I hope you enjoyed this small conversation, and I hope to see you soon, both. Okay, bye bye. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you all of you.
Bye bye. Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.